Good morning. Welcome both here in the sanctuary and also online to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg. We're on the unceded ancestral lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole indigenous people. My name is Reverend Ben. I'm the minister. My pronouns are he and they. Happy New Year to Jewish UUs. Yom Kippur took place this past Friday night to Saturday night. Tomorrow is Indigenous Peoples Day, and the office will be closed in observance of that day. Now, last week, John Arterton and James came back after being north, and then they had to evacuate again, and then they're back again, so welcome back again. It's good to see you. Don't blame us for everything, it's just exciting. Of course, Tim Berneman is here, and we've switched our topic. Next week, we will be listening to Indigenous voices. This week, we thought we would do hurricane recovery and hurricane relief, and I'm very excited that my roommate for the last week, John Motter, is my worship associate. Good morning, John.
Who could really speak to this topic?
And we're sharing scripts because there's limited everything these days. And I'm Michael Pohl. Sometimes I'll be Michael Pohl, sometimes I'll be Morgan Gresham, depending on how the edits went. But thanks, Reverend Ben. If you're in a church where we lean in softly with intention and willingness to be changed by what we hear in the sacred space, I have good news. You may have found your church home.
All right, thanks. Now, we welcome the unique energy that children bring to our services, and most of our religious education folks are, cleaning up after hurricane damage. We do have two of our nursery staff who were able to make it in, so if anyone of a nursery and young age wants to go hang out with them, this is a good time to do that. Neurodivergent adults like me are also welcome, and we have fidget toys in the back through those double doors on the left.
We have two announcements today. Our new member class, UU 101, will take place today from noon to 2 in Conway South. Childcare will be available.
Our second announcement is about laundry, because with a bunch of people living in the church over the past week, a lot of these have become dirty. So if anyone is willing to take home a box full of these small towels / washcloths and launder them and bring them back in. I see a couple of you nodding. You want to raise your hand and commit them? Oh, there's like several hands, so I'm going to take any one of you three who raised your hands there. Thank you.
Please read the... Oh, okay. Please read the rest of your announcements in the order of service in our weekly newsletter and on the TV in Gilmore during coffee hour. Masks are available at either entrance, but we do not mandate them.
Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we are a people of diverse beliefs. Some of us believe in a God, believe in a goddess, believe in Dennis Phillips. Well, we do believe in science, so that makes sense. We do share a common faith. I wasn't sure that joke would land. It landed really well, thank you. We do share a common faith in all seriousness that we are connected to one another and that we are connected to the earth. So whoever you are or wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here.
We want to give a special welcome to any newcomers. If you are new to UU St. Pete, or even relatively new, can you give us a wave? Welcome. If you'd like, please briefly introduce yourself. Ben will come around with the microphone. You're not under any obligation to do so, but we'd love to hear from you if you'd like.
spent a few days here during the hurricane, so I know some of your faces. I heard that I'm Facebook famous because Ben Idle's song that he uploaded, so I'm just happy to be here today. Thank you.
Good morning, I am Ron Wagner. I am guest of the best diet buddy in the world.
Okay.
So, thank you.
See no hands raised.
Hi, everybody. I'm with Mario. My name is Barbara. We've been coming for the last couple months. We didn't have much hurricane damage, so we're happy to do laundry for anyone or anything else like that. So that's it. That's all we have.
Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing, and thanks for silencing your cell phones. If you'd like a mask, we have them available at either entrance. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Or, I guess, we'll take a few minutes to greet each other. Now remember to get consent if you're going to hug or shake hands as we greet each other. So, and if you see somebody that you really like, say you are glad you're here today or something to welcome them back from the hurricane.
Please rise as you're willing and able for our opening hymns number 1018 in the teal hymnal. Come and go with me.
Good morning. We're going to rise and sing, but you don't actually need to open your hymn books because you know the tune, and I'm going to feed you the lyrics as we go. Come and go with me to the land. Remember that? You can do it. So now you're free to clap and feel the beat. Hit it, Tim. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. Where there'll be freedom. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. Where I'm there'll be singing. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be power. There'll be power in that land. There'll be power in that land. There'll be power in that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be power in that land. There'll be power in that land. There'll be power in that land. Where I'm bound.
Please remain standing as Joe Wedman lights our chalice. Your chalice lighting is in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. You may be seated. There'll be Wi-Fi in that land. It's the time for joy, sorrows, and concerns. So if you are halfway through one in the card, you can bring it up to John or myself. We've had quite a few submitted online. And we don't have anyone to put stones. Would anybody, John Arterson will put stones for each joy, sorrow, or concern that has been submitted. And first, there are many stones of concern about our two hurricanes. Online, Michael Fitzgerald says, wow, do I have some concerns. And Batia Weinbaum is concerned about damage to her condo.
There are many stones of joy about those who helped during and after the hurricanes. Sabina Manalik thanked the UU St. Pete heroes and heroes from the neighborhood who kept our church and community afloat.
Now, each week we try to appreciate an individual or a team who takes leadership in our community. And this week we want to appreciate two of our leaders who, took down the tarps from our backyard, put them back in time for the Friday Sunday supper, cleaned up the trees blocking the rampant roots in the street in front of our church. So thank you, Robert Wallace. Thank you, Joe Wedman. Robert's up there, and he is recording so that we can hopefully upload this to those those waiting on YouTube.
A stone of joy from Carmina Day. We're all still here. Our church is still here.
All right, a stone of joy from Batia Weinbaum, who worked at a psychic fair yesterday.
Two stones of joy from Debbie Polis Carter. Without power, that the weather has at least been cool at night, and a big joy to Bandit Coffee Company for feeding us and the community 2 times every day for free or donation.
Cards. We got a stone of joy from Kelly Patton, who's near the back there. Kelly says it's a stone of joy for the animals who made it through the hurricane, including the feral cats who live in her yard. Kelly says, I'm grateful for those who've been helping animals, such as Todd Wellman and Jeff Bambro, both of whom are here, who rescued an injured squirrel. I saw a picture of a cute little thing in the Gulfport Facebook book group. And then a stone of sorrow for the humans and other animals who have lost their homes or are otherwise struggling.
Stone of joy from Claudia Sundman. This magnificent church and the people who make it happen, specifically the volunteers who work through the storm to quell floods, clear fallen branches, and generally help others. This church was a sanctuary in real and metaphysical terms for so many during this storm.
Feels self-serving for me to read this one.
Stone of joy from Christine Barker. Reverend Ben, joyful that we have Reverend Ben to help us through this challenging times and to help us recover.
What's my handwriting? Let's place one stone for those joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts. Sometimes they're too tender to be spoken out loud. And let's do our responsive reading. May our hearts not become calloused by the never-ending incidences of oppression and hatred that so many face each day. Rather, may we keep our hearts open to positive efforts of so many people.
May we have the strength to demand and gain the right for all people to have a safe place to sleep, health care to keep them strong, and the knowledge that their lives matter.
The struggle is taking longer than it should, but we will get there.
May all of us find a comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of fellowship and community.
Now the mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. So let's rejoice in this beloved community that makes of the many one. And let's take about a minute of silence together.
sort of view from the pew, which was not well planned, so I got the first part written out, the rest will kind of wing it. Things have been kind of busy lately. I hope everybody made it through the hurricane okay, and property is fairly safe. After evacuating my mom and I to my stepsisters for Helene, I realized how difficult anything out of the ordinary is for somebody that's 91. Any sort of change in routine. And so once we found out we were going to have to evacuate again for Milton, I just knew we weren't going to go 2 hours up to Ocala to do that. And initially, I planned to get a hotel room that was handicap accessible. And I didn't even know where we were, but we were down here for something, and then it's like, well, Lucinda and I are staying at the church, and so that was my answer. And I have to say, this is a great community. It is unbelievable what people can do here. Monday morning, Christine Barker drove over to Manatee County because I had half of my carport roof laying in our driveway that was just shrapnel waiting to happen. And she helped me load that up and get it taken care of. She then took my mom's bed, which is a medical reclining chair, and brought it down to the church, so it was here when we got here. Eventually, Mom and I made it about 7:30 Monday night, and Lauren Connor was the other person here that night, and it went pretty well. We had 2 dogs. The next day, we were joined by, and 1 cat at that time. The next day, we were joined by 1 more dog and 2 more cats, and the other dog was much better behaved than our dogs. Our dogs like to bark quite a bit. But it was great to be here in the support of people from our congregation when it was terrifying. While some people were having some cocktails, not name a name, but I do a 12-step program, and so I was in Reverend Ben's office on a Zoom 12-step meeting and listening to the wind just howl on the outside and terrified. I said to Mom, you don't need to be brave, and she goes, I'm not brave, I'm petrified. And which was a lie, she was trying to be brave. But we made it through that night. When water started coming in under the doors, through the mail slot, from the ceiling right above the last pew before the split, that's why all those tiles are dirty. We never let up on our UU values. I got voted down by the democratic process that I could not go out on the roof to put a shingle that we had on there, even though I said it's a very flat route over to that, but so it leads. But bottom line is, people really pitched in and supported each other. And then the next morning, Robert was here bright and early, helping to clean up. One of our guests from Friday night was here to help clean up. Neighbors from the building next door were here to help clean up. And then some random guy with a chainsaw stopped and cut up the tree that was out across it. Jacob, that cut up the tree. It really was a team effort. And that's why I love this church. We spent part of the day calling to make sure people were in safe places, checking on people. I got a message back from 2 of our snowbirds saying, I can't believe you're checking up on people. This is so wonderful. And so I just want to say how truly remarkable we are as a community. People slowly started to go home. I took Mom home last night. We're on our last canister of propane, but there were a bunch of lineman trucks in the neighborhood, so hopefully we'll have a power. But I just want to say how good it was. When I had to drive home that day to look at my neighborhood, our house was fine this time. We lost the rest of the carport, but the house is dry. My neighborhood's pretty destroyed. But even there, My Trumper next door, I was friendly. I went and checked on him to see how he was doing. People really pitched in, regardless of politics, regardless of gender, regardless of sexual orientation. People just pitched in. And that, I think, is what is most important during this time, because it's going to be a while before we're back to normal. And some people, a number of our members have lost everything in Helene, and so I'm sure some of them have lost even more now. So just thank you, everybody, for pitching in and having those smiles on your face and just checking in on people. It is invaluable. So thank you so much.
Thank you, John. We have a guest singer for our anthem, and she is named Lynn Unger. If you know her through her poetry, probably, but she's also a performer and a leader in Unitarian Universalism. Hi, welcome.
Hey,
good to see you. Good. Lynn wrote a song based on the chalice extinguishing that some of you heard, called Unquenchable Flame, and I'm calling this song Fire in Our Hearts. She sings through it twice, and so I'm going to play the whole thing through twice, so it'll be 4 times, and by the hopefully second or third time you can sing along.
We hold in our hearts an unquenchable flame, not subject to wind and not subject to rain. Through storm and through tempest and this hurricane, the fire in our hearts will remain.
We hold
In our hearts an unquenchable flame, not subject to wind and not subject to rain. Through storm and through tempest and this hurricane, this fire in our hearts will remain.
Once again, Lynn.
We hold in our hearts an unquenchable flame, not subject to wind and not subject to rain. Through storm and through tempest and this hurricane, the fire in our hearts will remain.
We
Hold in our hearts an unquenchable flame, not subject to wind and not subject to rain. Through storm and through tempest and this hurricane, this fire in our hearts will remain. Take care.
Take care, Dan. Thank you, Lynn. We also did Vespers services every night right there. Sort of a little circle of us around that first pew mostly. And you're welcome. And some of you saw them on the YouTube live stream that we did. So forgiveness, this is going to be kind of a greatest hits from the Vespers services. Under the large theme of time, feelings, and values. I think in the order of service, I said time, emotions, values, but really it's time, feelings, and values. Thank you for your words, John. Mine are even less written down than yours, but I'll start with, given that it is the Jewish New Year, the words of Reverend Abraham Joshua Heschel from his book, The Sabbath, which I believe was published in the 50s or 60s, and my glasses left me. Oh, there they are, excuse me. I don't have the large print of the Sabbath. Okay, Rabbi Heschel says, technical civilization, and Heschel uses the gendered language of his time where man instead of humans and mankind and whatnot. Technical civilization is man's conquest of space. It is a triumph frequently achieved by sacrificing an essential ingredient of existence, namely time. In technical civilization, we expend time to gain space. We are all infatuated with the splendor of space, with the grandeur of things of space. Thing is a category that lies heavy on our minds, tyrannizing all our thoughts. The results of our thinginess is our blindness to all reality that fails to identify itself as a thing, as a matter of fact. Indeed, Heschel says we know what to do with space, but do not know what to do with time, except make it subservient to space. As a result, we suffer from a deeply rooted dread of time and stand aghast when compelled to look into its face. Things, when magnified, are forgeries of happiness. They are a threat to our very lives. We are more harassed than supported by the Frankensteins of spatial thing. Heschel says the higher goal of spiritual living is not to amass a wealth of information, but to face sacred moments. Face sacred moments. Judaism is a religion of time, aiming at the sanctification of time. Unlike the space-minded man, to whom time is unvaried, iterative, homogeneous, or to whom all hours are alike, empty shells, quality-less, the Hebrew Bible senses the diversified character of time. The Sabbaths, he says, are our great cathedrals, and our Holy of Holies is a shrine that neither the Romans nor the Germans were able to burn. 6 days a week, Heschel says, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On the Sabbath, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. Now, for Heschel and for Jewish people, this Sabbath, this cathedral in the sky, I imagine it floating down to earth on Friday night at sunset and floating back up on Saturday. For Jewish people, that is the Sabbath, is the Friday night to Saturday night. For Unitarian Universalists who are not Jewish, we have our Sabbaths at not as much of a grounded time. This can be our Sabbath right here, our worship service. We can have Sabbaths if we are part of the CUPS group, the Covenant of UU Pagans, in our CUPS rituals, or in moments of isolation when we're reading something from our hymnal, or when we're just connecting with another human being that we love, or connected to. These also cannot be touched, these Sabbath moments that we have. Heschel is a Holocaust survivor. So when he says cannot be touched by the Germans, he's talking about that. When he says cannot be touched by the Romans, he's talking about probably the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. The sanctity of time for Heschel feels like a comfort to me, something that cannot be touched by Romans or Germans, a precious thing that can never be burnt down, can never be bombed, can never be destroyed by a hurricane. I was grateful to John for honoring the value of democracy as we were kind of arguing up there, and he really wanted to go up on the roof during the hurricane itself, for a wonderful reason. Our beautiful building was dripping, and we were like rushing to get whatever we could to catch the drips. But he saw the cause. He saw that there was a shingle missing, and we found another shingle. And in his mind, he saw a path to go out and just nail the thing in so it would leak less. And I'll grant you, this building is beautiful. This building is precious. All of our homes, some of which suffered minimal damage and some of us major damage, are precious, are beautiful, are valuable, but they're nothing compared to the value of this man's life, of this man. So we got a little more leak, and we have this man alive. And I'll take that deal any day. So that's time. I'm going to talk about feelings. I'm going to talk about values. My colleague, where's my colleague? Dr. Audette Fulbright Fulson, she's the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Asheville, North Carolina. And last Sunday, she preached a sermon about, I don't know if you've seen this sort of cycle of a natural disaster, where there's the heroism and heroic deeds, and then like the letdown and the annual, that there's a lot of feelings. And I thought it an interesting choice for her. Remember, last Sunday, when Asheville was literally in the middle of the destruction of many things, for her to focus, instead of on those things, to focus on feelings. And I thought, I can draw some wisdom for that. I did not find her actual quote from her that I used at Vespers, but I bring her sentiment that as precious as at least as precious as our things, whether they're lost or whether they remain, are our feelings, are how we are inside ourselves and how we are with one another. And towards that end, I have a responsive reading that I would like for you to help me with. It's in your gray hymnal. It's a poem by Mary Oliver called Wild Geese. And what number is it? It is, what is it?
490.
It's 490. Thanks. I'll read the non-italicized part. You read the italicized part, please. You do not have to be good. You do not have to You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Wherever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like wild geese, harsh and expressing, over and over, down to your place and family fields. I did not, it was great for me to lead nightly Vespers until about Thursday. I got kind of out of inspiration, ideas, energy, and it's in those moments where I feel like I'm lost that I look to things greater than me for inspiration. And in this case, I look to Mary Oliver. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. And at that point, my soft animal of my body loved not working so hard. So we I did all right. We did a Vespers on Thursday, and we read this Wild Geese, and I encouraged other folks to do what Mary Oliver tells us to. This is why I wanted to say feelings, not emotions. It's going to be a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and we're going to have a long path. But we have each other. We have this time right now, and all the times that we have together, and we have our bodies and the signals that our bodies are sending us. We're so often taught to ignore our bodies and the signals our bodies are sending us and our instincts. And I think right now is when we have to lean in to those instincts, to our bodies. And we will be all kinds of imperfect. We usually say that we neither expect nor offer perfection, but it's going to especially be true. We didn't live stream today. We didn't have the printer working for the large print orders service. We are going to have to forgive one another. This is a phrase that Reverend Kathy McGowan from the Unitarian Universalist Association taught me when she came here 2 weekends ago. So you are all officially pre-forgiven for whatever thing you do. Joe just pre-forgave me back. Thank you, Joe. For everything is you're going to do that, you're going to be like, why did I do the thing? Why did I say the thing? You're all pre-forgiven. And Kathy McGowan pre-forgives all of us, especially in light of not one but 2 hurricanes. Seeking more inspiration from other colleagues, I posted in a Facebook group, are there any short readings that say, hey, there's a hurricane bearing down on us, but hopefully we'll be okay, half in jest. But my colleague, this was before Milton had hit, and my colleague, Reverend Elizabeth Mount from UUY, it just says Wyoming, I can't remember the city. She actually said, I think the most important thing to remember is not that it will be okay. In many ways, she says, it simply won't be. You and your neighbors and loved ones, Reverend Elizabeth says, will lose pets, lives, memories, furniture, access to food and water. And it will hurt, they say. And you will go numb. And everything will be so hard for longer than you imagined. But, they say, but also there will be help and community and kindness and more people who want you to come out of it well and whole than you can ever believe possible. Elizabeth says things are at their worst amidst the aftermath of a disaster. But people, so many people, become their best. Now I want to take a minute and see what you all have to share. If you have encountered people at their best, we talked about some examples of that. Or if you just want to talk about what it's been like for you.
I evacuated with my cats and my boyfriend to his dad's house. His dad's house in Bradenton, but inland. So we knew we weren't in any danger, and we had power at that point, and we're watching the storm, and it's wobbling this way, and it's wobbling this way, and we're out in the back, and we're going, come on down here. You come on down here. You stay away from St. Pete. And sure enough, it did. This is the first time I ever experienced the eye, and I've been in Florida for 40 years, and it went right over the house. So yes, we brought it down to Bradenton, so St. Pete was like this.
Hi, I'm Ellen Scarcella, for those who don't know me. John, you were mentioning the Trumper next door. I have the Trumper in the family, it's my dad, you know, and he's an old school Italian immigrant, conservative, which is fine, it's what he chooses. But as a daughter, I was really panicked because they live, my folks live half the year outside of Sarasota. And they're in zone A, and he's like, I'm not gonna evacuate, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, Dad, please, like, you know, I know you're 81 and you're stubborn and I think you know everything, but just, you know, listen to me. And finally he listened to me. I sent the phone number for the evacuation shelters and he went. And I was like, you know what, at the core of it all, this is about humanity, you know, like you mentioned. And, you know, after 45 years of me being alive, he listened to me, so. But, you know, that this whole thing, it does transcend politics and all that stuff, because at the core of it, we're all human beings, and, you know, I didn't want them to be hurt, and their property was damaged a little bit, but they weren't, and that's the most important thing, and I'm glad you're all here.
I want to thank everybody here, because I had no place to go. I have a cat. Hotels were open, were open, they weren't accepting animals. My niece had found me a hotel way up in Kissimmee, and there was no way I was driving to Kissimmee by myself. And I had texted Reverend Ben and said, could I please come stay at the church? And he said, absolutely. So I've been here, and it's been wonderful. I knew most everybody here at least
families by name, but didn't know them, but I've gotten to know them so much better. And your Mama John is one of the sweetest people in the whole wide world.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
She was wonderful. We sat and talked and waited for y'all to get things together. It's been wonderful. And Alex is still upstairs and says he'd like to stay for a while longer.
Well, I just want to thank God and Jesus, two great, mighty physical men. I know God is a great and mighty killer man and a dangerous swelling man. He never breathed and made the people with fortification. But he seems to have a problem with two women of a spiritual mind, black and white, and normal gay females who was a rape victim that don't know how to praise God for the goodness of being able to see and hear. And the second physical father, Jesus, that has so many sheepfold flock. I cannot say I am. I'm just a great and mighty HRS black fair-skinned big Madonna that cannot and would never breed and make bastard children. But what I'm trying to say is God loves those women like me, but he'd rather deal with his sons and daughters who are not born at normal, meaning that he don't like those of a spiritual mind who are less and less of vessels to prey on those who are faultless, innocent. Anything dealing with sweet waters and drinks and food. A woman that's born at normal because she got home by not obeying God and Jesus wants to steal somebody bag that says save a lot that magic. Sweet water to drink needs to give God and being able to see, hear, and breathe, and speak and talk and move her body all on and praise, because I'm from Clearwater, Florida, but I represent all 50 states during this volcano, hurricane, evacuation, and I saved a lot of sons and daughters of his that ain't mine, not born, not at normal. I'd rather keep doing what I'm doing when they're born out of the anus. They come flowing up out of the water and gasoline. Hey, Auntie Tasha, that's what God needs to make them say. At least I have some Sprite or whatever to give them. But he made a mistake stealing from me, dealing with God and he's on my earth with an EBT card, and I don't think she's going to make it today. So y'all keep her up in her prayers. And we all do forgive her, like God and Jesus said. Because we are faultless.
We're thoughtless. We are innocent. Thank you.
I prepared for the hurricanes in the way I normally do, and that is getting all my stuff together and shopping and buying 3 times as much food and whatnot. So if anybody needs a ham sandwich, let me know. But I did the same thing when I was 9 years old. And I guess that's part of my feeling of how I can cope with the things that aren't really to be coped with, you know. But it gives you some feeling of power to go through your rituals and assume that things are going to be all right. And that's a little bit easier than not having that choice.
A true story, John. I want you to know I had a tree on my roof. I've been fighting with this neighbor for 11 years, the attorneys, to get this stupid tree taken out. I knew it was going to happen. I was furious. I'm tired, hot, running chainsaws. And I got internet access. And I got the notification from the church. And I saw our beloved Ruth. And this is a true story. All of a sudden, I had this huge smile on my face, looking at her beautiful smiling face. It was a picture out front where you were all cleaning up. True story. That changed my whole experience, is seeing that wonderful, beloved woman. Thank you. And I hope this goes out into the internet so she can hear me say this.
Hi, I'm
Ms. McDonald, I weathered the hurricane pretty well, all things considered, although the complex is trashed. I went to Jacksonville because I had to work and I had to have the internet, so I was fine, but I was trying to figure out what was going on down here. And I was wishing and hoping and other things that the hurricane would go south of Tampa, and because I knew that in the Northern Hemisphere, because the hurricanes go counterclockwise, the wind would push the water out of the bay rather than pushing it into the bay, which is, of course, people know about that. It's a thing that happens in Tampa. But I couldn't find anything, and I went online and I found the weather gauges in St. Petersburg, and I'm watching and thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna have an 18-foot storm surge at my place, which means it's the end of the whole place. And everybody, I mean, half the people in St. Petersburg. And you see where the tide is supposed to be? And the tidal gauge is going down, down, down. I'm saying, it's sucking it out. This is fantastic. And there was like no information, nobody, I saw the roof being ripped off the stadium and watched that, and oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. But I knew that we wouldn't have that 18-foot storm surge. But April, I felt so guilty because I was pushing that hurricane down to you and saying, I know, well, between the two of us, that, and a lot of other people's hopes and dreams, but I felt so, so bad for the people in Bradenton, and there were a whole lot of people in the hotel from Bradenton. So, I don't know, things work out. So anyway, I'm glad to hear people are here, and I'm praying for all the people that, aren't and who need help.
We had a theological discussion here with Dana and others about prayer, and I think how Dana put it is like, so is it like a prayer competition? If more people pray that the hurricane goes north, then they win, and then the ones who pray goes south, then they lose. And then I think it was the night before last, the just reopened Gulfport Brewery. There was a couple having that same theological debate next to me, and so of course I'm like, I don't mean to pry, but and I ended up meeting this couple, and they weren't quite sure what to do with this concept of God, or is there, and they asked me what I thought, and I told them I don't believe in a God that would inflict a hurricane on one area versus another. I might believe in a God that is there and is present when people are surviving and recovering from a hurricane. And they liked that answer, so they said they might come to church someday. We'll see if it wins them over. We can replace things. We cannot replace our time that we have together. We cannot replace ourselves, our bodies, our feelings. We cannot. We cannot have our values taken away, and our values guide us through hard times like this and through non-hurricane times. Our values of justice, of equity, of transformation, of pluralism, of interconnection, of generosity, and of course always with love at the center. And it was our love that really pulled us through. Our love for you, Josh, our love for your mother, our love for our fellow beings, both human and cat and dog. And I didn't know who would show up today, and it is a smaller crowd. I'm just so glad that we have this moment in time that no Romans can take away, that we had this space together. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be. We have a closing hymn. What is it? 360. It's number 360 in the gray hymnal. What? We have an offering first. We have an offering. words for the offering, but we right now are eating fruit. Not right now, but the fruit that we eat today comes from trees that were planted long before we were born. May we plant seeds that grow trees that bear fruit long after we are gone. In the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received. What is given in love we receive with great joy, and we say thank you. Please rise as you're willing and able for our closing hymn. It's number 360. Here we have gathered. extinguishes our chalice. Your chalice extinguishing is in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. Please be seated for our postlude. I gotta fill while he's getting up to the organ. Thank you everyone who participated in leading today's worship service, both anyone who grabbed the microphone and said something. Of course, John, our worship associate, all of our musicians, our song leaders. we brought what we have today and we did it together like we do everything.
Our closing words are from John Fox. When someone deeply listens to you, it is like holding out a dented cup you've had since childhood and watching it fill up with cold, fresh water. When it bounces on top of the brim, you are understood. When it overflows and touches your skin, you are loved.
Thank you. I hope to talk with you some of our new member class at noon. If nobody comes to new member class at noon, we will do it again. We hope that this worship service will help you through this week. Will help you remember you are not alone. We have coffee in the next room. Blessings.